The 2024 Penn State baseball season begins on Friday in Cary, North Carolina. The Nittany Lions open up this exciting 2024 campaign under first-year head coach Mike Gambino. So many talented players returning from last year's team, transfers coming into the program, and a very talented freshman class. Had a chance to be around this group a little bit during the fall and in the weeks leading up to the season, and there's so much promise for this 2024 season. So looking forward to broadcasting those games as well once the team gets back home and we jump into conference play here from Medler Field at LeBron Park. So many great renovations happening to the ballpark this year. I know everyone's going to want to get out there and be a part of what should be an exciting 2024 season. So every week, what we're going to do here is bring you a Penn State baseball show. We're going to talk to coaches, players. Tyler Millen, who's a part of our staff, is going to join me as well. He's going to be a part of those interviews throughout the course of the season. And we thought no better way than to kick off the season than to be joined by the first-year head coach, the skipper of the Nittany Lions, Mike Gambino. So without further ado, here's our first Penn State baseball show of the year. And I'm going to welcome in the head coach of the Nittany Lions, Mike Gambino. Always great to see the head baseball coach of the Nittany Lions, Mike Gambino. Coach, it's hard to believe that maybe when you took this job in June that now opening weekend is here. What's the pulse of the group as you head into the opening weekend?
It's crazy in some ways. Like you talked about, it's crazy how fast we got here, and there was other times I felt like it was crawling. Right, and to get to this point that we've been all so excited about leaving here on Thursday to head down to North Carolina. It's cool, man. The pulse of the group, I think, and this is what I've been getting from a lot of the older guys, there's a lot of excitement. There's the vibes are really good. The boys, there's a closeness with this group that they are really, really excited about. There's a confidence level. There's obviously some uncertainty. You're going into a season, but there's a confidence level. We feel as a group that we are a much better club than we were September, give or take September 1 when we first got together. We feel like we're a better club. We feel like we're a more closely knit club. And we're excited to go out there and see what happens.
Obviously, so much hard work over the course of the fall. Where do you feel like the group is better now in all those different areas from September 1 to opening weekend here in mid-February?
Yeah, well, I think one thing is getting the same page, right? It's when you come in, we talked about it as a staff and we talked about it as a program, and I'm going to use something simple like language when the ball's in the air on a pop-up, right? We got a bunch of different people coming from different programs, both kids that were here, kids that we recruited from other programs, staffs coming in, where in future years you don't have to ask, are we saying I got it, or is somebody saying ball, ball, ball? Like that had to be a conversation in the fall, right? Your language on cuts and relays when the ball's coming in. Are we saying cut two or just two, right? That all takes time. So getting us all on the same page in everything, in language, in how we run the bases, in how we prepare, in how we attack hitters, and how we use our stuff. Even this weekend, how we travel, right? We have to have conversations about how we dress, how we act, what do we do? Right. So a big thing is getting everybody on the same page and realizing and setting up a structure that's going to allow each of these guys to be successful and to reach their potential. And to me, one of the big things is how do we set this structure up to allow them to get their work in, not be so structured that they can't be themselves, right? It's really important that each person on the field and off the field can be their authentic self, can learn their own identity, but they have enough structure to be able to work and prepare and reach their potential.
Yeah, obviously, with a new staff, a lot of that messaging is going to come from yourself, your assistant coaches, everyone involved with the program. But also, at some point, whether it's a transfer, freshman, or players who are already on the roster, you want them to take ownership, accountability, have that strong voice inside that clubhouse, even when you're not there. Who has kind of emerged as guys that you can really expect to lean on in those situations, whether it's on the field or off the field as you head into the season?
Yeah, I think two guys that have really jumped up for leadership roles are Billy Gerlach and Adam Cesare. I mean, both those guys are very, very well respected by their teammates. Their voice is an important voice. People respect them. They listen to them. And both guys are stepping into those roles. Like in the fall, and we had talked a little bit, it was hard as a group to lead within the clubhouse because there's uncertainty about what it is that we want as a staff, right? So part of that is, when you talked about both myself and our staff, I'm so lucky. I mean, this staff that we were able to put together here, and I'm really, really excited about. But we needed some time for them to see for the players in the clubhouse to see what our standards were, what our expectations were, right? For them to then start taking leadership roles. And that's one of the most biggest deciding factors in success of a season, right? And it's not necessarily whether or not that team goes to Omaha, but whether or not that team can reach its potential in that specific year. One of the biggest, most important things I believe in college athletics across the board is the leadership within the locker room. And, I think those two guys are starting to and will do a very good job for us.
You mentioned that it's a process. The ultimate goal is to make it to Omaha. You want to win baseball games, but there's no doubt that there's also some steps along the way that a program has to take. What foundational elements are you hoping to see, whether it's culture-wise or baseball-wise, in the opening weekend to kind of get a measuring stick as to where you are through these first 4 games?
No, and what you said, it's really important, right? We want to talk about going to Omaha for the College World Series here. We want to talk about Big Ten championships here. We just literally this morning had an operational meeting, about the ballpark here and how things work. And I multiple times talked about getting ready, having this program ready, and having our operations ready for when we host a regional here, because that's a goal and something we want to do. And it's funny, we were talking about that just with the guys. Now, I've never been to a baseball game here, right? So I'm still learning, and I'm going to come back to the foundational steps, but a lot of the guys the older guys were talking about how electric this ballpark is, and what the students can do to this place, and the town supports the team, and people want this place to be good at baseball, and they want to come out. Like, I am so excited to see our students out here, because I've heard some unbelievable things, and you see that hockey program, what they've done there, and I think it's 12 years, right? I mean, that's one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen. And obviously Beaver Stadium, and but the talk here is this atmosphere in a game day now can be amazing. And all the guys are talking about a regional here, this place would go off. So those are the goals. That's what we're trying to do. From foundational steps, what we're talking and working a lot on, both internally and externally, is a couple things. One, building a really good decision-making apparatus within our program, right? And across the board. And that means, how do the guys make their decisions on the field when we throw at the lead runner and when we split the runners, right? When we have to make a decision on first and third, teaching them to make really good decisions in game, because we don't want to make them for them. We want them to make decisions. How do we make, as a program, good decisions, whether it's our matchups in game, or who's starting and who's not, or who do we hit for and who not? How do we make good decisions, from a budgetary standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint? Like, right, how do we just, that's one of our big things, is just how do we get really good at making decisions across the board in our program? And then on the field, what I've said to the guys and what we talk about is, we want to play harder than everybody else. We want to play smarter than everybody else, and we want to have more fun than everybody else, right? So we want it to be something that when people come see us play, they know and understand that our effort, our attitude, all that stuff, all those controllables we've taken care of. The guys are going really hard. They care about the program. They care about the logo. So are we playing harder than their team? Are we playing smarter than their team? Goes back to that decision making, right? Are we making good baseball decisions? Are we playing good baseball across the board? And then have more fun, right? I want there to be, and these guys care about this and they believe in this. I want there to be a recognizable closeness and fun within this group when they're on and off the field. And when those things come together, it's a blast to be part of, and it's a blast to watch.
Obviously, these things will change throughout the course of a long season. I can say, from being around the group just a little bit, they've worked hard. They've had a lot of fun. You can tell through the fall what these guys can do in a scrimmage setting or a game setting, and the same whether it's in Haluba or the few times you've been able to get outside here during the course of the early spring. Do you have a sense of how you at least want to attack the opening weekend from a pitching standpoint, lineup standpoint, and the internal competition's been really good, so it may be a lot of opportunities for different guys here to start the year?
Yeah, from a pitching standpoint, we like this group. We'll give Lunsman the ball game one. The strides he has been making It's when you see him out there, the body, the arm strength, all that stuff has been there. Understanding how to use his stuff, understanding how to compete on the mound. He's worked really, really hard, and he keeps getting better and better. His last outing of the preseason was really good. So he'll be getting the ball game one. We'll go to Penn game two. Jaden's been doing a really good job for us. He can really pitch. He's made some really good adjustments with Will on his stuff. We'll go Sanchez game three. He is as competitive of a kid as I've ever been around. You talk about leadership voices. He's one that I believe, as the season evolves, can, will, and should have a large leadership role and voice. And then we'll go TBD on Sunday. Kind of see how those first three play out. That's how we're going to attack opening weekend. Sanch has a potential to be a starter, also has a potential to be a swing guy. There could be some weekends that we go with a TBD on Sunday, 3-game weekends where you go TBD on Sunday, where maybe Sanch gives us 4 to finish a win type of deal. Those are all sort of options that we can look at from a pitching standpoint.
Well, I know everyone's looking forward to this season. Can't wait to see this thing play out. And also for our fans, we'll be getting together, whether it's with you, staff members, guys on the team throughout the course of the year, and bringing some Penn State baseball, a little Penn State baseball show every week. So we appreciate you kicking it off, Coach.
Thanks for having me, Tripp. Anytime I ever get a chance to hang out with you, I'm all in, dude. So
I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And now we welcome in Tyler Millen, who's going to be a part of our coverage all season long. And Tyler, I know we're both looking forward to this season. We're going to talk to players, coaches throughout the year, staff members. But as you go into this opening weekend, we just heard from Coach Mike Gambino. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to about this team?
I'm really looking forward to the veteran leadership and the poise of this team. There's a lot of guys that have played a lot of college baseball on this roster, and a lot of that is spearheaded by the pitching staff. You look at, starting pitcher Travis Linsman, who has been around this program for quite some time, and he's a very exciting arm, a guy will bring a lot of veteran poise and leadership to this rotation. And in the back end of that, you have a guy that hasn't pitched a ton of innings, and that's left-handed reliever Anthony Steele, and that's a guy, Connecticut native, and a guy that's brings a lot of length, a lot of velocity with that fastball, a lot of movement with his off-speed pitches, and he's a guy that can really bring stability to the back end of the bullpen. I think if you look around the infield and you see second baseman Kyle Hannon as he makes his transition over to first, he's a guy that tied the steals record with 27 stolen bases last year. He's a guy that can be a real threat once he gets on base, for sure.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to seeing what Grant Norris does this year in his second season at Penn State. Adam Cesare coming in and joining the program. I think everyone spoke very highly of what he can do on the offensive side. And as you said, we just heard from Coach Gambino, Linsman, Henline, Sanchez as the opening 3 starters of this weekend for the 4 games against Monmouth and Army down in Cary, North Carolina. So, Tyler, we're going to have an awesome year with this show that we're starting for Penn State baseball. Can't wait to see this season get started, and we look forward to all the great stuff that you're going to bring to the table. You've covered the team for the Collegian with Go PSU Sports here, so you've obviously got great knowledge of the team, and we welcome you aboard for our coverage here during the 2024 season.
Looking forward to it.